Every price you see has been carefully engineered. Every checkout flow has been tested thousands of times. Every limited time offer is designed to short-circuit your rational brain. Companies spend billions of dollars studying how you make decisions, and they use that knowledge against you. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you the exact tactics being used. Once you see them, you can never unsee them. Let's get into it. Let me start with a story that tells you everything you need to know about pricing psychology. In 2012, JCPenney hired a new CEO, Ron Johnson, the genius behind the Apple Store. He looked at JCPenney's pricing and said, "This is insane." The company would mark up a shirt to $60, then discount it to $15 and call it a sale. So he did the honest thing. He eliminated all fake markups, all coupons, all sales. Just fair, transparent, everyday low prices. The result? Revenue dropped 25%. The stock cratered. Customers abandoned the store in droves. The lesson? People don't want the best price. They want the feeling of getting a deal. And companies have built entire empires on exploiting that feeling. The first tactic is anchoring, and it's probably the most powerful tool in the pricing playbook. Your brain disproportionately relies on the first number it sees when making decisions. So when you see a jacket listed at $299 crossed out, marked down to $149, you think, what a deal, I'm saving 50%. But if that same jacket were just listed at $149 with no reference price, you'd think carefully about whether it was worth it. The product is identical, the price is identical, but the crossed out number completely changes your perception. Apple does this brilliantly. They show the iPhone Pro Max at $1,199 first. Suddenly, the regular iPhone at $799 feels like a bargain, even though it's still an $800 phone. Next is the decoy effect. This is devious. The Economist ran a famous experiment with 3 subscription options: web only for $59, print only for $125, and print plus web for $125. Now, why would anyone buy print only for $125 when you can get print and web for the same price? Nobody does. But that's the point. Without the decoy, without that useless middle option, 68% of people chose the cheap web-only plan. With the decoy, 84% chose the expensive print plus web bundle. An option that literally nobody buys shifted the majority of customers to spend more than double. You see this everywhere: movie theater popcorn sizes, software pricing tiers, phone storage options. There's always a bad middle option making the expensive choice look smart. Drip pricing is when companies show you an attractive low price up front, then slowly add fees throughout the checkout process. You see an $85 concert ticket. Great, you think. Then come the fees. Service fee, $22.50. Order processing, $6.50. Facility charge, $4. Suddenly you're paying $118. 39% more than advertised. And by the time you see the real price, you've already invested time selecting seats, entering your info, and mentally committing to going. That's the whole point. StubHub's own experiments showed that hiding fees this way increases revenue by 20%. The FTC passed a junk fees rule in 2025 requiring upfront pricing, but it only covers event tickets and hotels. Airlines, banks, and most other businesses? Still free to drip. Here's one you've definitely noticed but probably haven't thought deeply about. Why does everything cost $9.99 instead of $10? It's called left-digit bias. Your brain reads left to right, and it anchors on the first digit it sees. So 9.99 registers as 9-something, while 10.0 registers as $10. Rationally, there's a 1 penny difference. Emotionally, it feels like a whole dollar less. Research shows items priced at X99 outsell their rounded-up equivalents by about 24%. Remember JCPenney? When they switched from $15.99 to $16, just 1 penny, sales dropped noticeably. A single penny. That's how powerful this effect is. Shrinkflation is the sneakiest price increase of all, because it doesn't look like a price increase. The price stays the same, the packaging looks the same, but there's less product inside. Frosted Flakes family size went from 24 ounces to 21.7. That's a 40% increase in price per ounce. Party-sized Cheetos, from 17.5 ounces to 15. Cliff Bars went from a 12-pack to a 10-pack, same price. Why does this work? Because you remember prices, not weights. You know your cereal costs 4.99. You don't know it weighs 21.7 ounces instead of 24. And companies love it because there are no price increase headlines. The sticker price stays the same. 75% of Americans say they've noticed shrinkflation, and nearly half have abandoned a brand because of it. But most of the time, you don't notice at all. The subscription trap is a masterclass in asymmetric friction. Signing up, one click. Free trial, no commitment, takes 30 seconds. Canceling, navigate through 5 pages of "Are you sure?" Get hit with a special discount, then another offer. Then, please call us to cancel with a 30-minute hold time. The average American household now spends $219 a month on subscriptions. And here's the really painful stat. 55% of people are paying for at least one subscription they don't even use. The companies know this. They're counting on your inertia. Every month you forget to cancel is pure profit for them. 41% of Americans now report subscription fatigue, but the model keeps growing because companies make it deliberately hard to leave. Only 2 left in stock. 14 people are viewing this right now. Sale ends in 3 hours. These messages are everywhere, and they all exploit the same vulnerability: loss aversion. Research shows that the pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something equivalent. So companies don't try to make you excited about buying, they make you terrified of missing out. That countdown timer, it might reset when it hits 0. That only 2 left message, the inventory might be artificially constrained. That 14 people viewing, it could be inflated or completely made up. The goal is to short-circuit your decision-making and get you to buy before you have time to think clearly. Dynamic pricing means the price changes based on who you are, when you're shopping, and how desperate you seem. Uber is the most obvious example. When it rains or when events let out, prices surge 2 to 3x. Airlines change ticket prices based on demand, your search history, and even what device you're using. Some e-commerce sites have been caught showing higher prices to Mac users because they assume Mac owners have more money. The algorithm is trying to figure out the maximum you personally are willing to pay. How do you fight back? Use incognito mode when shopping. Compare prices on different devices. Clear your cookies. Check prices over multiple days instead of buying impulsively. And use price tracking browser extensions. The more data companies have about you, the more precisely they can charge you the maximum you'll tolerate. Free is the most dangerous price of all. It completely short-circuits your rational brain. Behavioral economists have shown that when something is free, people stop doing normal cost-benefit analysis. They just take it. But nothing is free. Google, Instagram, TikTok, they're free to use because you are the product. Your attention and your data are being sold to advertisers. Free shipping isn't free. The cost is built into higher product prices. Buy now, pay later apps are free if you pay on time, but the business model depends on late fees and the fact that people spend 10 to 40% more when using BNPL than when paying up front. Whenever something is free, always ask, what am I actually paying? Because you're always paying something. Loyalty programs feel like a reward, but they're actually a trap. They exploit 2 psychological biases. The sunk cost fallacy. I already have 8,000 points. I can't switch to a competitor now. And artificial progress. I'm only 200 points from gold status. That Starbucks progress bar, those airline tier levels, they create a sense of momentum that makes quitting feel like losing. But here's the math most people never do. Most loyalty programs return 1 to 2% in actual value, but they change your behavior in ways that cost far more than that. You buy more expensive flights to keep your status. You go to Starbucks instead of the cheaper cafe down the street. You stay loyal to a brand that isn't actually the best deal. The loyalty program costs you more in overspending than it ever gives back in rewards. So how do you defend yourself against all of this? 7 rules. 1. Ignore the original price. Never ask, how much am I saving? Only ask, is this worth X dollars to me right now? 2. Sleep on any purchase over $50. Urgency is almost always manufactured. If you still want it tomorrow, buy it then. 3. Calculate price per unit, especially for groceries. This defeats shrinkflation instantly. 4. Audit your subscriptions every quarter. If you haven't used something in 30 days, cancel it. 5. Shop in incognito mode to avoid dynamic pricing based on your history. 6. Ignore any urgency tactic. Limited time, only 2 left, countdown timers, treat them all as noise. And 7. Whenever something is free, ask yourself how it's actually making money, because it always is. Here's the bottom line. Companies spend billions of dollars every year studying how you make decisions. They hire psychologists, run thousands of A/B tests, and optimize every pixel of every checkout page to extract the maximum amount of money from you. The least you can do is spend 10 minutes understanding their playbook. And now you do. You can see the anchoring, the decoys, the drip pricing, the fake urgency, the subscription traps. You can name the tricks, and once you can name them, they lose most of their power. If this video helped you see behind the curtain, hit like and subscribe, and share it with someone who could use this knowledge. Thanks for watching.